Okay, so I will talk about the problem of contracting in the construction sector. When we talk about a different way to contract between construction stakeholders. It's what we call project alliance. We can call it also a collaborating contract. So first, let's have a look on the context of the construction sector. So here you have a graph, okay, showing the evolution of the productivity in two sectors. So in the construction, so in blue, and in the manufacturing sector, so in yellow. So you can see that there is a big gap, okay, between those two sectors. So in the manufacturing, we have a continuous increase of the productivity since 20 years, but even before. On the graph, it's between, let's say, 1996 and 2012. But in the construction, it's totally different. We have no real increase of the productivity for the last 20 years. So the productivity stayed almost flat for decades. So the question is to understand why. At the same time, we have on many projects some problem of delays. Okay, so it's very difficult to finalize projects on time, and we have also problems to respect the budget. So we have many cost overruns. Okay, so that is the context today in the construction sector. About the stakeholders in a project, so we can see that we have a big range of stakeholders. So we start with a client, so it can be a public or a private client. After that, we have some people in charge of, let's say, the engineering part, so the studies part for the study of a project at the beginning. So we have engineering companies, we have architects also, we have consultants that are more or less in charge of the project management part. We have a main contractor or main contractors, because sometimes we can have some groups of contractors, mainly on big projects. And after that, we have many actors, so subcontractors, suppliers. For the subcontractors, sometimes we have different levels. We don't have only one contractor working with one main contractor. Sometimes you have different levels, level 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. As a consequence, we have a very complicated and a very fragmented supply chain. So the idea is to see how we can make all those stakeholders work together in a very collaborative way. So about the cooperation level in the construction sector. So today, in most of the projects, the collaboration is very low, due mainly to project contracting models. So what is this model? First, in most of the contract, when you have some, let's say an event, when something goes wrong, we need to blame someone, clearly. So we have some penalties, okay, in most of the contracts. So if something is wrong, we need to find a responsible, and we need to apply some penalties. So of course, as a consequence, okay, trust and transparency are totally inhibited. So people are not pushed to work all together and to be totally transparent. So first, a problem. Second one, most of the time the contractors are selected a little bit too late in the life of the project. So it means that they are not involved in the planning decisions, and it has consequence on their impact, on their activities. Because we don't take into consideration their constraints, etc., etc. And at the end, we have the fixed price bidding. So today, when a contractor is contracting with, for example, with a client, the price is totally fixed. And as a consequence, there is no collaboration between the stakeholders. Why? Because when you have, let's say, your contract with a fixed price, your target is to improve, to optimize your own price. You are not pushed to work with your colleagues, with your stakeholders, because, okay, if something goes wrong for your colleague, it's not your problem. You just try to optimize your own risk. So it's a problem because it's not pushing people to collaborate and to work all together. So that is the model that we can see in most of the projects today in the construction field. Okay? As a consequence, there is no shared goal. Okay, so in fact, each stakeholder has his own goal or goals, okay, or is not interested with the goals of the colleagues. There is no shared risk, okay, because in fact, every company will include in its price its own risk. We can take the example, for example, we all have, we no need to have an insurance for our car. It's as if, you know, everybody in the room would take its own insurance, or would create, you know, its own insurance. So it will cost a lot of money for everybody. So the idea, you know, it's the same in the construction field. So the idea is to go closer to the system that we have. Okay, you will work with an insurance company, so you will give every month a small amount, but this small amount will give at the end a very big amount shared with everybody. So it's clearly the idea to reach this model in the construction sector. I will talk about it later. No collective problem solving. So the same. Today, if your colleague has a problem, you're not interested in trying to find a solution to help him, okay? Because what you want is to preserve your own cost on your own targets. So of course, we don't have a win-win scheme in the construction field, okay? So the idea is to find a different contractual scheme, to work differently and to work in a more collaborative way. So the idea is to implement a new system that we call Project Alliance. So what is a Project Alliance? First is to form, at the beginning of the project, with the client and the main stakeholders, a team that is totally integrated and with the right skilled persons for each role. And sometimes it's the problem that, you know, we don't have the right people around the table. We can have a lot of consequences at the end of the project because we don't take into consideration some constraints or some information are coming a little bit late. For example, during the studies, we are not taking into account some constraints that we can meet during the construction. So the idea is from the beginning to have everybody around the table. So it's very important. Secondly, we need to have a collective goal, and also we need to share the risk and the opportunities. It's what I said before, we should not have an individual behavior saying, okay, I have my own risk and my own opportunities, I don't care about the others. No, we need to share all those risks to find solutions together and to find some preventive actions to be able to control those risks. And also, we need to exclude from the contract the idea of blame. It's very important, no penalties scheme, because of course, if we want to have a complete trust and transparency between the different stakeholders, we should forget this in the contract. Okay, so no blame. On the most important point, it's to have a payment skill fully reimbursing variable cost and aligning the margin to the overall project success rather than having individual margins or individual success. So the idea is to say, okay, we'll work all together, okay, as a subcontractor, I will pay you all your costs, okay, that you will have, so manpower, materials during the life of the project, but all the rest, okay, the cost that you take to cover your risk, the margin, we'll put it in a common, let's say in a common box, and we will work all together during the life of the project to optimize this amount. And at the end of the project, we will dispatch this amount all together. So in this kind of system, all the partners are pushed to work all together to optimize, let's say, this amount. So of course, if one colleague has a problem, my job will not to say, okay, it's yours, I don't care. No, I will try to find a solution because at the end, we will win all together if we are able to find a way to raise the problem. And it's what I said, we need also to have a collective decision-making and problem-solving system. So when there is a problem during the life of the project, the idea is to work with all the stakeholders to find a solution and not to let the people find a solution alone, okay? So now if we see the link what, you know, the added value that this new system can bring to the supply chain, to the logistics activities. So the idea is to plan the logistics organization upstream with the main stakeholders. So to take into account at the beginning of the project what are the logistics constraints of the project. So for that, we need to have the right people. Okay, so we need to integrate, for example, some logistics operators. Okay, because most of the time in the construction companies we don't have the good skills because you know the job of construction company it's to build, it's not to manage some materials, to manage some flows of information. We don't have the right IT system, so we need to work with the right people to bring this added value. And it's a good opportunity also for the construction companies to concentrate on their core activities and to work on the increase of their added value. It's already a very big job to try to optimize their own activity. So it's better to concentrate on it and to ask to logistics companies to bring their added value for the logistics part. Okay. On last point, it's about the logistics cost. So the fact that we can create between the stakeholders a better trust and a better transparency, it will help to the people to work open booked. So to be able to share their cost, to be able to identify more precisely what are the costs of the logistics activities, and to be able at the end to create an organization, a common logistics organization. For example, it can be the implementation of a consolidation center. And we need, of course, to be able to say, okay, what will be my budget for the logistic activities? So the idea is to remove all the costs from the contracts of the subcontractors, to put it in one budget for logistic activities, to be able after that to have, let's say, one organization with a clear defined budget. And globally, it will be a good way to increase the global margin. So to say, okay, we'll try to optimize those logistic activities to optimize the margin that we will share all together at the end of the project. Okay. So that's it. If you have any question about this new KIM, so just to finalize, it's a new system. We don't have a lot of experiences of this kind of implementation of a new contract scheme. We have a few ones in Australia, mainly in the oil and gas sector, also a little bit in the US, in England, but it's a new system, and clearly today there is a big gap to change the culture, the mentality of the people in the construction sector. But if we want to be able to work in a better way altogether, to implement new solutions, it's a very important thing to do to see how to contract altogether to work in a better way.
Hi, my name is Alex Ben-Samoun and I'm part of DPD Group. We are a parcel operator, but my question hasn't nothing to do with parcels. It's a very original legal scheme that you have set up. We are very sensitive to legal frameworks because this is how we can make things work. My question is, for this specific contract scheme, what was the law under which you have built it? Was it French law, Swiss law, and what was the judge for any recourse?
Today, this system it's totally new. For example, in France, we don't have any case. And today, clearly in France, we need to change the law. For example, for public projects, because clearly the law is not pushing to implement this kind of system. So we need to change not only the mentality but also the legal aspects in many countries. So I know it's the case in France, but maybe in other countries. But in France, for example, for big public contracts, everything is so you have some penalties, etc., etc. So it's not pushing. We cannot, let's say, today implement this if we want to respect the law. So we need to change also the legal. No, it's it's a feedback from experiences, as I said before, in Australia, in a little bit in England, but there is no clear framework today. It's common law, absolutely, yeah.
Are there any other questions at the moment? Yeah, I'm coming to you with the microphone because otherwise we can't hear it
So my name is Gabriel. I work for French civil engineering companies. And I'd like to know for you, you told about collective decision making. For you, what's the good compromise between collective decision making and the time that we pass to take that decision? Because sometimes in civil engineering we pass too much time making some decisions, and it can increase the delay for some construction projects. What's for you the good compromise?
I think the problem is also, the answer is in the contract also. For example, it's true that for the decision in the engineering phase, sometimes very long. Because in the contract, for example, an architect will have 2 weeks to give a feedback to the construction company. So the idea is also to stop, to have this kind of delays in the contract and to say, okay, we have a problem, okay, let's sit around the table and let's try to find a solution today. Let's not wait 2 or 3 weeks. So clearly, it's to yes, to have a lighter contract, okay, and to help, to have incentives for the people to work in a more reactive way. So okay, we have a problem, okay, we need to solve it all together, because if we are waiting 2 or 3 weeks, at the end, we'll have an impact for everybody. So as I said before, the idea is to optimize the cost, to optimize the margin, but it's just to, yes, clearly for me a problem of legal scheme. So the idea is to work as a team, and when we have a problem, okay, let's not wait to solve it, let's do it right away.
I have one question which is not completely related, but when we looked at construction logistics in urban areas, what we saw is that from the footprint and the amount of vehicles going to the construction site, most of the vehicles were vans that were driven by construction workers, basically to commute. Did you also have a look at how to reduce the impact on the urban environment using another scheme, or was it completely out of scope? And if that was, do you have ideas on that?
You mean in terms of what? In terms of, for example, pollution, in terms of... I think the solution we discussed yesterday, and I talked a little bit about it, about the solution we are pushing in the Success project. It's implementation of the CCC. And clearly, the idea is to, because we will not change, for example, if we talk about the problem of pollution, we need to renew the vehicle fleets to work, for example, with electrical vehicles. And today it's very difficult to do it in a short term because we need to work with many suppliers. And so if we ask to all the suppliers to renew their fleet in, let's say, in a short term, 2 or 3 years, it will be very difficult because we need a lot of funds, so it will take time. But if we work with the CCC, it will be more easy because we are talking about one fleet, okay? So maybe 5-10 vehicles. So in this case, it will be easier to implement some new solutions, biogas or vehicle trucks in a short term. The idea is to do it, with all the fleets, but it will take time. But with the CCC, we can accelerate the improvement that we can do.